Welcome everyone to our donor experience optimization session. That's a mouthful to say on a Thursday afternoon, right after lunch. I'm Yanni Saratsis. I'm a vice president client services, and I'm joined by Sam Waller. Sam, want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Sam. I work with Yanni at NextAfter as a digital strategist. So I also help with all of the optimization of digital fundraising campaigns.
Cool. And we're super excited to do this. This is something that we live for. Just looking at nonprofit organizations, trying to optimize some of the low-hanging fruit, some of the testing that we've done. And we've got two great organizations today that we're going to live up. And let's
Yes.
introduce them.
Yeah, I think the first one is the Nashville Rescue Mission.
And Laura,
Awesome. Yes.
welcome.
Y'all,
Tell us about yourself. Give us a little intro. Tell us about Nashville Rescue Mission.
absolutely. Hi, I'm Laura Thompson. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications at Nashville Rescue Mission, and we serve men, women, and children experiencing homelessness in Middle Tennessee by offering immediate care and long-term support across multiple programs.
Cool. And I know you submitted a donation form when you originally did the submissions, but we'll probably also look at your website. I know you have a lot of campaigns running right now. We've got a lot of ideas. I'll also, giant caveat here, we know you're on Blackbaud, so you're kind of limited, but what you can do on the page. So take everything with a grain of salt. A couple of things we want to look at on this page, and Sam, jump in as well. We're going to tag team this. You've probably heard us say at NextAfter, let's try to reduce the amount of friction on a donation page. So things like putting the donate button on the donate page sometimes will confuse donors. There's some value prop we want to dig into. There's some tactical things. Just a lot of potential for optimization on this page. I will say nothing is bad. We've seen a lot of donation pages in our many, many years of digital fundraising. And this is not bad at all. Like, it works, right? But there's always something you could do to make things a little bit better and help those conversion rates. So I think definitely start with, if you can, remove all that navigation at the top. Like, you want someone, when they hit that donation page, it sounds horrible, but you want them to be in the dark alley with no escape. Like, they're there to make a donation. You don't want them to like click around. They joke about me at work. Like, I have like the squirrel tendency. I see something shiny, I'm like, squirrel. You're there to donate. And, and we're fighting against the current here. If you've seen our benchmarks, nonprofits generally have a 13% conversion rate on donation pages. That means like 87% of the audience fails to make a donation. So anything we can do to increase that 13% will help this page.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with Yanni. Removing the navigation will help tremendously. The first thing that people see and read will be that headline text of Change a Life Today. You guys have such a neat mission. And I feel like you guys could be potentially using that a little bit more in the headline. We've seen that when it's more direct and what people know that they're giving to up front, they're more likely to convert. You want to almost hook them. So consider changing that headline to something very specific to you. Most nonprofits can say, make a difference, change a life. I think Yanni gets sick of me hearing it because it's a pet peeve of mine that I'm always like, what difference are we making? But what lives are we changing? So maybe something like, be the reason someone in crisis finds shelter today. Something very direct that they can say, this is the value that I'm adding, before you get into the actual value copy here.
Yeah, and really on the value, if you follow NextAfter at all, you've heard us say value prop is the key thing that'll drive. And value prop is really, why should someone give to your organization versus any other organization at all? So when we're looking at these pages, like any organization can say, change a life today. Like, what makes that unique to Nashville Rescue Mission? What about you is unique? And the interesting thing is, like, you do this on some of your other donation forms. I think you've got like a summer campaign running right now where it's
It's
got very specific things. It's even in the autoresponder on your donations, and the thank you is like, this is what your gift has helped do. So a really interesting test would be, let's just put that on the donation page and see if you can increase those conversion rates.
out of curiosity, have you guys tested that line on your donation page?
Not recently, no.
Yeah. Yeah, testing on donation pages, I feel like it's almost it ends up being like the welcome series of your website. You just kind of forget it exists. And you're doing the campaign pages instead of testing on the main. Happens to all of us.
Yeah, I know we had some other ideas
Mhm.
as well, Sam. I don't know if you want to run through some of the experiments we've got pulled up that might be relevant to Nashville Rescue Mission.
Yeah, sure. So I just gonna go through and also like what I really like. It's not an experiment necessarily, but potentially look to change these. That could be an interesting test.
Okay.
Like, select your gift amount, something that provides action to the user and kind of guides them through. We've run this test on landing pages where we try to guide people through the, steps of why they should, be filling out a form. We've done it on value prop, actually, the copy, trying to guide them through the setup and usually making these action oriented. It's kind of a user experience thing, but it is a test you could run.
Yeah,
I think
even something like
also,
recurring gift, and I can't remember if you can
Mhm.
change it in your actual instance of Blackbot, but like that's a headline where it's a chance to say, this is why you should make this a monthly gift instead of just recurring gift, which I think most of the donor audiences know what that means, but it's an opportunity again to reinforce why they should become a monthly donor to Nashville Rescue Mission.
Okay.
um, something else you could run on the donation amount, you could have almost the like equivalencies. Like, what does $25 directly give the organization? We've seen this work for some other organizations. Granted, I think last time we ran it in a module for Save the Children. And basically, what this is, and it's on their homepage, which I highly recommend because it's very successful. But when they select the different donation amounts,
Mhm.
this copy right here changes. So right now it's on, a one-time gift, donate 150. 150 can provide 2 families with food, parcels and containing, canned beans, olive oil, bottles of water, and more. It's so specific. And we found that helps ground people into what they're actually giving, hopefully increasing order value, but definitely helping with the conversion rate.
Got it.
Yeah, and again,
Um,
you've got that on your your urgent children, families in need hope page
mhm.
right now. You've got the like your gift can provide a family-friendly shelter. You probably have those very specific equivalencies that you can say, like $25 helps provide clothing and shoes for 10 children or whatever the number is.
Mhm.
Especially for an organization like yours, people want to give to make an actual impact, and sometimes just having numbers and dollar signs out there doesn't really translate that donation into something tangible.
Yes, and you don't have to have it dynamic. I know that that's a whole deal within Blackbaud. It is possible, but you can just put it here in bullet points. We've seen that a lot, and it's just as impactful.
Yeah, there's also, I know this is a very Blackbot specific thing because we tested it, the new rollout of their donation module, whatever I call it, where it's secure payment and then something pops up. We ran a test with another organization because internally we were like, this is crazy. You're adding friction. It's a pop up. So we actually tested it, and this is a public media organization. And we tested, might be a little bit hard to see on the screenshots, but once you hit that button, you get a little pop up that says enter your payment information instead of a standard inline donation page where you just scroll down and you put your information. In this experiment, this version actually won the test. So it didn't impact conversions at all. It actually had a slightly higher conversion rate. Average gift was about the same. So it goes back to our ethos of like, we don't know everything, and this is why we test. Again, everything in Sam and I's brain was like, this will never work. This is adding friction to this organization. Why is BlackBot pushing this? And I know your donation form is like this, and the other organization has it similar. It doesn't impact conversions at all. Shockingly, but I guess shockingly in a good way. And again, this is why we love testing everything.
Yeah, I think it broke me and Yanni's heart when we realized that it was our tried and true that's been successful for years. It was beat out. So I like that you guys do have the little pop-up. I think the secure payment, you kind of have it covered with making people feel like it is secure. We found that adding sometimes language around that, you have the pages, secured by a CAPTCHA, but you could add potentially something similar to this, your information is secure with the icon. We've ran experiments like this across multiple organizations. And I think in all of the experiments that I looked at, there was one that it had no effect. Everything else was a lift. It's not to say it'll always have a lift, but I think it's pretty safe to say it's worth a shot for your organization to add a little icon to visually indicate that this is a secure donation.
Okay.
I feel like we've just been talking at you, so I want to check in. What are the pain points with this donation form that are your pet peeves that you would want to change?
Yeah, a lot of what you've said around limitations, and those limitations to optimize the form. But there are some things that you've mentioned that I think we can do, which is really exciting, because we know that those solutions are just going to hopefully, improve conversion and donor experience. Donor experience obviously is top of mind for us. And so I think being able to enhance the page through some of the things that you've mentioned will be great. Will be great for us. I appreciate all of your feedback.
Yeah. Have you tested the processing fee? I know that's a long running LinkedIn thread on NextAfter of like, should we include it? Should we not? We've tested it where it's worked. It hasn't worked. Have you thought about potentially testing in and out of that at all?
Yes, we have. And actually within BlackBot, if you use the optimized form, I believe that's what it's called, it limits the option for donor cover if you utilize one of the forms. But we haven't tested it, but that's in the queue for things that we want to do.
Okay, perfect. Cool. I mean, again, like this form is pretty good. I said we've got some questions. Fundraise Up. Yes, we do have a lot of insights. We have a lot of organizations that are using Fundraise Up, and we could talk about this at the end. Like this page is good. There's some low hanging fruit again, like navigation options, value prop. You've got a great story to tell. The impact that you're having. Even I think I saw on another page where it's like you have like 66 children. Like maybe $25 could help a child. Really digging into and having fun with that value prop is probably going to provide the biggest lift for the organization.
Oh, and I'm seeing the question of where you're suggesting the bullet points. So I know it seems counterintuitive, but right underneath here where you have your, what we call value prop language, you can add bullet points here. It's usually a pretty simple way to do it. I know this was something that I actually had to unlearn when I started at NextAfter, that I have background in both nonprofits, but also e-commerce. And I'm like, you want the form right there. It needs to be above the fold, so to speak, and it needs to be something immediate. That's not necessarily the case. We've tested around it, and a lot of the upfront copy, if it's good copy, it's not going to decrease conversion rates. Usually we see the opposite. Good copy. And so you can just kind of put the bullet points here, and you'll usually see a conversion lift. It goes against what we want to do, but trust us.
Yeah, even like the tried and true, like mobile forms should be short and sweet because our attention spans are small. Like we've tested that so much, and it's as Sam mentioned, as long as the copy resonates with the donor, it doesn't necessarily matter how long it is. It's just is it impactful? Does it make that emotional connection when someone's trying to make a donation? And doesn't really lay out, again, why they should support your organization versus any other organization at all.
And before we hop to homepage really fast, because there's a couple things that we just wanted to talk through. Bonnie, I see your single page versus multi-page. Yanni and I, before I think a month ago, we were all about the single page. And since then, we have had our confidence shaken. It's the name of the game. Things change really quickly. It could be because there's so many great donation platforms like Fundraise Up that do have the multi-page that people are becoming more accustomed to it. But I say test it. I think that we're in kind of a shift. Some organizations were seeing the multi-page win. Some were seeing still the single page win. The modal pop-up is winning on a few clients. It's not on others. So I say test it in your audience, but it does seem to be at one of those pivotal times where it's user behavior is changing a little bit depending on the organization.
Yeah, and I think a lot of organizations are going towards more like the e-commerce style where it's multiple like forms, but it's getting you there. And we've had organizations that are testing, Fundraise Up against another platform, and we're seeing the Fundraise Up convert better, even if it's multiple steps to actually make that donation. It's as long as each step is useful and relevant and continues reinforcing why they should give to that organization. I'm sure at some point in the very near future, it won't really matter if you have single versus multi-step. I know a lot of NextAfter used to be like single step because we've tested it against all organizations. And as Sam mentioned, the digital universe constantly changes and it's continually changing and evolving as we move towards, like GoFundMe and Fundraise Up and Classy and some of those more modern platforms.
Right. And I'm going to click out of our donation form. And that kind of answers the question for Shelley about why you don't want the navigation up top. So the idea is your donation page should almost act as a landing page. You don't want people to leave it. It should be all contained. You want to get them from landing on the donation page to donating with little friction. And if you have someone who, like Yanni, likes to click around, if they have a menu, they're going to click into it and they're going to leave your donation page and they might not come back. Cool. So I love that you have the donate button up at the top. That's very standard and it's nice to lean in where people expect your donate button. There's just something that stood out to me when I was looking at your page. Two things from a conversion optimization. So I come at everything about dollars. I want to see the donors. I want to see us make money. The straight into the join our team. I would rather see the who we are right there. Get into, answering the question that people are likely asking when they land on your homepage, and then trying to get them into the experiences. It looks like you have a lot of the content here: stories of hope, join our team, volunteer, down here on the make a difference. So you might be able to maybe switch this to all stories of hope if that's an initiative that you guys really want to push your blog, get the stories out here in more of a feed, and then use this to make a difference for kind of those secondary ask.
And then Sam, I know we're close to time. Do you want to show the donation module, Save the Children, and which we thought would be pretty impactful for Nashville Rescue Mission?
Yes.
And also for
here we go. Yes, because we love this thing. We've tested it across many things. So I know some of you guys are listening and not watching, but the donation module is essentially a mini donation form within your hero image. We've seen it work on campaign pages that are very specific and on the home page. We've tested it a lot lately. But this might be a great addition. It is a little bit more code heavy, but I think it's worth it to guide to your donation form and make it a little bit more upfront what you're asking people.
Yeah, especially during a like a high urgency campaign season, I know for Nashville Rescue, like a lot of people are going to the site to look for help. But like during a Giving Tuesday year-end campaign, this could be really interesting to test, where generally the motivation of people going to your website is to make a donation.
And we did test this, and it had a 54% increase in conversion rate with a 99% confidence. So we've tested it since then in different variations, and so far the module always wins out during high urgency and non.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, Laura, for letting us optimize your page. I was going to say tear apart, but it's actually a good donation page, and being willing to be volunteering to be a tribute in this organization. But we love the work you're doing. Keep up like the great work. Happy to talk offline if you want some other ideas. Again, we're here to just help make the world a better place. I know it sounds cliche, but that's what gets me out of bed every morning. So.
Every improvement here helps us connect more people with hope and healing. So thank you.
Exactly. Cool. We might quote you on that. No. Cool. And now we're going to switch to our next tribute, because I've just been watching Hunger Games on the plane, so it's all about Hunger Games. Cook Children's Foundation.
Our neighbors
in Fort Worth, where we're all sweltering in this, I don't know, 95-degree heat with 1,000% humidity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tell us about yourselves. Tell us about the organization.
Sure. So I am Mary Butler. I'm the director of annual giving here at Cook Children's. Cook Children's is one of the nation's largest freestanding pediatric healthcare institutions. So freestanding means that we are not tied to higher ed or an adult healthcare institution. So you're not having students, residents come in and take care of your kid. You've got a physician right here to take care of your precious little child. We have 2 hospitals. We have our main hospital that is in Fort Worth that is creeping towards 500 beds. And then we have a smaller location, a satellite hospital out in Prosper, which is just a stone's throw away from the NextAfter headquarters. And then between our primary care, urgent care, and specialty care outpatient clinics, we have over 80 locations in the DFW area. And I am accompanied by the incomparable Itza. She is our senior digital fundraising specialist. I come up with the ideas, and Itza makes it all happen. So I'm thrilled that she's here on the call as well.
Excellent. I generally come up with the ideas. Sam tells me they're bad ideas, but then says, you should do it this way. So I like this dynamic we have going on. And I am excited. Sam's super excited. We both have hospital healthcare fundraising in our background.
Love it.
I did a ton of fundraising for Mass General up in Boston and Brigham and Women's Hospital. So this is really exciting to look at this page. Again, thank you for volunteering to be a tribute. Show us your donation page. You're also on Blackbaud, right? You're Illuminate.
We are. So be gentle. Be kind to us.
No, you know what? It's all of this is like, we know you have limitations, but you can test XYZ. Because again, I've been using Blackbaud for a lot longer than I like to admit.
Yes.
One of the things that really stood out to us, and I don't know if you heard us before, is like, why Cook Children's versus any other hospital here in Dallas or across the world? And it's trying to dig into that value prop of like why your organization versus not. And so when we see like a headline, our patients count on us because we can count on you, like like any other organization can say that. I'd love to see like some testimonials on here, like some great, and you may have tested it already, but some testimonials, some of the impact that you're actually having, some of the children that you saved. It would also be really interesting, and this may go off on a tangent, like we all know there's been federal funding cuts on NIH, how that's impacting healthcare. So there's a lot to test into on this page. Again, it's actually really good for Illuminate form. So kudos to you for getting Blackbaud.
Thank you. Well, it's all Itza.
Kudos to Itza then for getting Blackbaud to behave. But yes, there's a lot of cool stuff going on here. And as we go through like our optimization, there's again some tests that we're running. I'll start with like the Save the Children one that we just showed. My assumption, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, is most people that are visiting your specific website are there to actually make a donation, right? Or are they just curious? They're learning about the foundation. Are they like grateful patients? Are they people that have had children go to Cook's Children? What does it traffic to this page? What's the source of
Yeah,
traffic?
a little bit of everything. We've got a lot of grateful patients, a lot of grateful parents, and a lot of grateful grandparents. I will say that's a huge chunk of our donors. But for what you said, of are people coming to make a donation? Yes, we would assume so. That's what they're doing. Through our digital fundraising, we've got a great open rate. We've got a great delivery rate. We've got over 99% delivery rate. Super low unsubscribe rate, but we just are struggling on our conversions of the click-through rate, and the action taken rate is much lower than we would want it to be. So yes, we're like, are people getting to the donation form and then abandoning their cart? We're trying to figure out, what is the friction that's causing folks to not follow through on that page.
Yeah, cool. Even on this page, like you've got the make a donation, explore Cook's Children's. It'd be really interesting to flip that. But again, like most of our eyes are naturally drawn to the top right hand corner for a donation button. Even me, like I am older, that light green doesn't pop as much as another color potentially could. And then, knowing every child's life is sacred, love that headline. That could be then be put into the donation module, Save the Children thing that we were talking about. They also use Illuminate, so we know it's possible. And Sam, I don't know if you want to show that again, but again, instead of people clicking on the donate button, we put that donation module on the main hero image. With, again, the hypothesis that a lot of people are going to that website directly to donate. So let's reduce the amount of friction. When they clicked on this, it was pre-selected on the Illuminate form on the other end. And we did see a pretty significant increase just by giving people easy access to what they actually want to do on the website, which is donate.
Definitely.
There's also a potential, if you don't want to put it in the hero, this generosity heals. You could add a little donation module here too on the homepage. We've seen those be successful, that like inline break. You've given them some value proposition. They know what you do, instead of having them go to a form immediately, get that initial buy-in where it's a click, and maybe since they've already confirmed what they want to give, they're more likely to convert once they land on the donation page.
Yeah, that's true. One less click for them.
Yeah.
Yes, all about removing that friction. While we're here, this Give Monthly, this has been something that I have hyperfixated on lately, is recurring giving and trying to get that up with all of the changes in the landscape lately. I would recommend changing the call to action here. Maybe even Give Monthly is, instead of join today, but give them a reason why they should be giving monthly. And there's a Neo talk from last year about recurring giving that's really, really, really good that we can send over. And that Give Monthly, if you give them a very tangible mission driven reason, not, it comes out of your bank and it's so easy. Nobody wants to think about money coming out of their bank. Focus on the mission, change that call to action to be really specific, and see if that increases your, conversion, at least on the homepage for monthly.
Yeah, I mean, so many people keep saying like monthly giving is, you've got Netflix, it's just a subscription model, and the reality is like, no, it's my hard-earned money. Like I want to make an actual impact with monthly giving, and your organization and your mission like ties very well into monthly giving. Like, hey, help make a child's life better, help save a child's life. Be specific as much as you can. And I know you're a healthcare foundation, so you may not have the equivalencies, but be as emotional, as impactful as possible, because people are coming to this site and they're already up that first step of the donor mountain of interest, and like how do we get interested people? The website, they're here, they're ready to donate, they're ready to engage.
Yeah. You said that there's lots of grateful grandparents that land here. Think about the language maybe for them. Give monthly and tribute to a family member.
Yeah. Or even I see a question about happy faces in the hero. Love to test that. Like we've got a lot of organizations where like sad wins, happy wins, but even on this, like test a picture of a grandparent with their kids there instead of this cute kid with a very cute animal right now in the doctor's coat. Like, that's very cute. But maybe if you're seeing a lot of grandparents, like, let's test the image on this page and on your donation page as well.
Yes.
Oh, Yanni, I love the way you think sometimes. I'm like, oh, yes, because there's a experiment that we can track down from, I believe it's Caringbridge, that has the headline change of, Yanni knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, if you remember Caringbridge, it's like make this website possible for Sam instead of just make this website, and you're just you're personalizing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
and
actually
when they tested.
Oh, I was going to say, we just A/B tested a different photo on one of our last donation forms for a specific campaign we were doing. And it was a photo of a baby and a doctor, and it like blew the roof off of the rest of the ones that we were doing. So like adding in a physician to the photo was so profound for our audience. Where I was like, yes, that was a good one.
Yeah, especially if it's your physician. I remember doing this for Brigham's. Like, they had pictures of their physicians actually doing research, and we tested into that, and it's just making that connection of like why you versus any other hospital foundation. I know we're at 1:30. If everyone's okay, we're going to go a bit longer because again, we haven't even touched your donation page yet. So Sam, if you want to get to make a donation, there's a couple really interesting things, and I wanted to get your thoughts, and you may be testing this. I see gift array is ascending on one time, but descending on monthly. Is that intentional? Are you testing that? Do you have results yet?
I'm going to be honest. I don't think it's intentional. We usually have them in ascending order, like the one-time option, and lowest amount is usually first.
Okay, cool. I thought that was really cool. I'm like, this would be a cool test.
You want to test it for us?
Also, the other interesting thing, which we haven't tested yet, but Sam and I were brainstorming before this, is you've got the monthly call out of like, here's why you should become monthly. Be really interesting to add that as a reinforcement. Like, once you click on monthly, just reinforcing again why you should become a monthly donor. We've done some tests where just adding that value prop or reinforcing it really impacts conversion rates, even sometimes like at the bottom underneath the submit button. Just adding that value prop really has a lift on conversion rates, because it's donors are going to the page. You may get 13-14% of them to convert. That means 86% are not. So anything we can do to increase the conversion rates, reduce the friction, increase their belief in your organization is going to help. I see you've got greatest need. I know you probably have to select a program. You probably know how we feel as NextAfter about giving people too many choices, but I also realize, again, with fun hospital background, I know you need to have those. You probably get a lot of cool stories, right? Share a story about this gift.
We do, and luckily that imports directly onto into the gift record on Razor's Edge. So it definitely helps us connect with those donors after the fact for thanking them.
Are you able to use those as testimonials? Like, is there a version of, maybe it's a checkbox, like use this in our newsletters or in communications moving forward?
Oh yeah, we definitely could.
Okay. Cool. I mean, there's even, we made test donations to all these organizations. Like your autoresponder, I'm going to read it off, but it says like, because of your partnership, we're able to deliver more than medical treatment. We offer hope. Like, that kind of language would be really interesting to test as value prop on your donation form. It doesn't just have to be on the autoresponder thanking a donor for their gift.
I know we're rushing through this part at the end, so I'm sorry. Just jumping all over the place from autoresponder back to your billing information. When you look at what you're requiring, usually the less fields, the higher the conversion rate. You'll hear us say like simplify if there's not a reason for it. And that's a caveat, because if you're getting emails, always get that first name, because that's really helpful for personalization. But here you're requiring on your donation form to have a title. That might be, people usually skip over that field, put in their first name. Then if they go to donate, it'll flag it. And at that point, they might just, give up, which seems silly, because you would think that should not be what stops someone from making a gift to your wonderful organization, but it could. On the flip side, this is something just looking forward. You have the phone number here. It's not required, which is fine. But you might also want to go ahead and add some language here about SMS messaging, even if you're not doing it right now. It might be a channel that you want to look into in the future. And if you have people's phone numbers that are already opted in, that might be really helpful when you're looking at year end. People are getting more and more used to getting donation requests over text. We all know the year that we've had and all the text messages we've personally received. It would not be far out for you guys to start texting your donors. Even to just check your email that there's a story that you shared. It can also be a cultivation piece. It doesn't also need to be give.
Mm-hmm.
But getting them to opt in here would be good for your future strategy.
Yeah, I'm even thinking ahead campaigns like, send a Valentine card to a kid in the hospital, like those kind of stuff that we all just love doing for healthcare organizations. Like that would be a cool text campaign. And I know you mentioned, email rates, like the metrics are great, the click-throughs are great. Text message open rates are much better than email open rates. Even, and again, Sam mentioned the season we've all got 1 billion text messages, but we're all opening them before we then delete them immediately. So text messaging is a channel that we've seen start to grow for a lot of organizations as people start getting inundated with emails. Email is still probably one of the bigger channels in terms of online fundraising, the best revenue generator, but it is starting to decline. I've seen for a lot of organizations where we're getting way too many emails. It's getting harder and harder to stand out from the crowd.
For sure.
Yeah. When you've said that the conversion rate on this forum is, lower than you'd like, do you know where the drop-off points are happening?
I'm not sure. That would be, I might defer to Itza on that question.
We don't have currently tools to analyze that. I think lately we've been having issues with the payment processing. So that could be one of the reasons why the conversion rate is a little low. But yeah, we're not too sure what that is, where it is.
I feel
like that's a...
Yeah, it's a Blackbaud.
Yeah.
We love Blackbaud if you're listening. But yeah, we've had that across multiple organizations where their new payment, like the PCI compliance is great, but it takes a little bit longer for it to load than we all like.
Yeah.
And so, yes.
I do have some data collection tips as a nonprofit that probably doesn't have a lot of time to spend on figuring out all the Google Events things. I'm a staunch believer in Meta, and the Pixel, you can set custom events really easy in their Pixel setup. Even if you never use Meta ads to target that spot in the funnel, it will give you an overall view of where that drop-off point is without any coding and without having to look into Google Tag Manager. No, it's a very technical recommendation. If you need help, I'll email you after this and we can connect so you can see where in your donation form the drop-off is actually happening.
Oh, would love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. Sam, anything else high level? I'm scanning through the questions. I think we've answered most of them.
I see from Charles about the order of amounts, anchor with a low or high amount. Ooh, okay. Oh man, I hate that I'm such a nerd. So it depends. If you have a donation form that lots of new donors are going to, sometimes we anchor with a lower amount to try to get people to convert at that lower amount, knowing that we can get them to hopefully give a second gift within that first 90 days. But if you have an average gift, usually we anchor on that for I would say the main donation form, but it depends. You can have a strategy if you want a lot of new donors, then you might lower it. If you are looking to, you have a really strong digital base and you're also trying to get those retention, those second gifts, those key multi-year, then usually you anchor it on the, your average gift. Would you agree, Yanni?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and also if you want to get really wonky, look at the channel that you're driving people from. Is it direct mail? Is it text? And like you can have a lot of fun with gift arrays. Again, I don't think we've seen any conclusive evidence of, it used to be like you should always do ascending, and we're always going to say, let's test, and whatever works for your organization might not work for another organization. So
Yeah. There's some research also on like the Goldilocks method that you can look to a little bit from an e-commerce perspective about where you want people to land. That you can have a lot of fun on the psychology of how to get people to actually choose the amount that you want them to choose.
I know we are way over time. Thanks everyone for staying on. As you can see, like Sam and I are just like nerding out on this kind of stuff. We love doing that. If you haven't heard about the NEO Summit, like this is what we do for 3 days straight, and we just talk to organizations and look at their websites and help optimize. I'm sure our Oz will drop in a link to the NEO Summit. Great. So if you haven't, check out the NEO Summit. Has some great optimization opportunities. Again, thank you for joining us. Thank you for volunteering your time, for volunteering your page for us to look at. A lot of great opportunities. And again, knowing you're limited with Blackbaud, but a lot of cool stuff that you can actually do.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cool. So that wraps up our second donor experience optimization session. We'll put on the screen after this just a way for other organizations, if you're online, to submit your website for optimization opportunities. Always just visit nextafter.com. All the research that we talked about is publicly available. And thank you for joining us. And thanks, Sam, for brainstorming on this with me.
Anytime.